Our big story tonight, police officers opening fire in record numbers. A shooting Friday marking the 44th time Phoenix police officers opened fire on a suspect this year. And it's been a record-breaking year for officer-involved shootings across the country. Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. Glad that you're with us. I'm Mike Gonzalez in for Rachel Cole tonight. Team 12's Nicole Zymek live in the Alert Center tonight with a look back at this historic high and what may be causing it all. Nicole. All right, that was awesome stuff. You look like you were having so much fun.
My turkey impression.
That was classic. And you said the Kiss guys were great.
They were so good.
They look like the middle-aged Kiss.
Yes.
You know, the guy got a little bit.
They were rocking.
The search continues tonight for two missing Valley boys. Police believe they may be with their father, who is accused of killing their pregnant mother, 8-year-old Victor Coronado Nunez and 5-year-old Jonathan Coronado Nunez. If you're not hungry now, you just don't have a tongue. I mean, that's seriously. These things escalate out of control so quickly because police officers simply don't know what's going to happen when they show up to one of these domestic violence calls.
Guys are usually so hot and we're freezing.
I know, you guys, what is it? It's just.
Why are you so hot?
I don't know. It's just.
Stop sweating.
I know, I'm big sweaty.
Sleep outside. It's winter time. You can cool off better that way.
That's why I like this time of year. All right, you should see me in the summer.
You and my husband.
It's ugly in the summer. All right, we are having a Gorgonzola event tonight, and I'm super excited. All right, but we're getting started with some awesome appetizers that are available at the restaurant.
Right.
Tell me what you got here. Hey, good evening, guys. Yeah, just got this brand new information, and this from Coconina County. They just declared a state of emergency, and what they're telling us, the declaration allows the county manager additional flexibility to deploy resources, obviously with all the snow up there. Also, we just got this in as well. A third shelter has been opened at Payson High School. That's at 301 South McLean. That's in addition to the shelters at Kingman Community Center as well as Pine Community Center, so be aware of that. I want to show you this video, guys, here in the Phoenix Metro. This is at 35th Avenue in Van Buren. It
right?
never stopped.
On top of the cooking,
and the cleaning, washing clothes.
Yes,
And I thought,
exactly.
it was the funniest part. Like my wife would come and she'd be like, "Why isn't this house clean?" And I'd be like, "Really, baby? Really?"
Yeah.
I was anxious in there, and I think the level of competency, guys, was so incredible to me. Competency and calmness.
Right.
And I kept asking them, how do you guys remain so calm? They said it is an essential part because if not, things will fall apart so quickly, Mike. We have to stay calm. That is the most essential part of this job. And I think at the time, Nick described it as being confused, and he stood his ground, essentially, is what he said. But the perception of him standing his ground made it look like he was being insensitive.
Defiant.
And then you had all these other things going on. But we talked about it, Mark. Where were the chaperones? They should have dragged Nick out of there right away. I want to talk a little bit about the parking issues out here. There's really not an official parking mantra that's been released. So if you want to come out, make sure you come out early. Also, like Jimmy mentioned, it's going to be 104 degrees today. So bring your umbrellas, bring a lot of water because it's going to obviously be hot. There's going to be thousands of people out here who want to pay their respects. And I'm Mike Gonzalez. Mark is on assignment tonight, and we have to warn you folks, the police body cam video that we're about to show you is really hard to watch. Just minutes ago, Team 12's William Pitts was shown additional body camera video. He's following this developing story for us tonight. Will? Tracy, question for you before we let you go. We're hearing a lot of talk on Capitol Hill about impeachment of Brett Kavanaugh. Has this ever happened, and could this be a reality? A lot of families who are here legally have some family members that are here illegally, and they think at times you're not fighting for them. What will you most miss about John McCain, Jerry? Because I know you had a close relationship with him.
Well, you just said it, the relationship that...
And he talked a lot about civility. Without him there, and your decision to step away as well, can we return to civility in the U.S. Senate without John McCain?
Well, it's a lot tougher. He's been the conscience of the Senate in that regard.
You know what, Paul, there is no golfing that's going to happen today. We basically did a square around here. We went up Miller, we went up Hayden, Thomas, Indian School, and we looked around the golf course, and it's unbelievable how flooded this thing is. I spoke to the superintendent. His name is Javier. He said golfing probably not going to happen until Monday out here, till it all recedes. So we're on Osborne right now. As we wait to hear Sutherland's plea in court, we learn more about who he was at work.
And Team 12's Jessica DeNova has more from a former wintertime. You can cool off better that way.
You talk about it, all this controversy, and now it's out.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing to take away from the Me Too movement, but I think in some instances you can be too politically correct. You know what I mean?
Read into it so much.
Stop reading
Not just
into
this
it so
song,
much.
but
Yeah.
like, you know, the candy cane, thinking it's an upside down J for Jesus.
Yeah.
And all this other stuff that's happening.
I know. Just enjoy the song. You know. There you go.
First, it forwarded $69 million
Unbelievable.
3-year deal. Conversations have reportedly already started about Meghan's exit, the exact details of which still remain unclear at this point.
Yeah, you just think somebody so talented and smart would make a comment like that. Gosh, we were talking about it as a staff. You would think she would know better.
Right. Former lawyer.
Yes. It just blows my mind that she would say that, because it's clearly the wrong thing to say, and she knows better. But, you know, there's theories swirling around. You read some of the blogs that she wanted out. She wants to go back to Fox News, but apparently Fox is not interested in having her back.
Yeah.
So
what happens after this is just, you know, where's she going to go? What's she going to do? What's NBC going to do? Is this, you know.
Yeah, I don't know how she recovers from that, you know, so it'll be interesting to see. All right, first at 4, it sounds like something out of a science fiction show.
Homeless veteran being honored today. The Air Force vet served in the late 70s and today was remembered by hundreds of people at the Veterans Memorial Cemetery in North Phoenix.
Team 12's Mike Gonzalez joins us in the studio with this emotional story. Mike?
Hey, good evening, Caribe and Mark. Will Melvin Shegog passed away February 15th at the age of 59. And until yesterday, this Air Force veteran was going to be buried without any family members present. That's until his niece showed up at his funeral today.
Yes, thank you.
One by one,
Sorry for your loss. Thank you for being here. It's our honor.
people from all across the valley,
Every vet deserves to have family.
from all walks of life,
As a family too.
here to honor a man who devoted part of his life to serving his country, including Will Melvin Shegog's niece.
He loved his family, and so I'm just grateful that we were able to be here to honor him and celebrate him. And for everyone that's here to support him is absolutely amazing and tremendous.
We honor active duty.
Carol Shegog Parker says her uncle was a private man. She didn't know much about his military service. The fact he was homeless never got in the way of their relationship.
We never talked about that. I just met him where he was and loved him right where he was.
Today, dozens of Patriot Guard riders and hundreds of people came out to show their support with a message: anyone who serves deserves to be recognized.
Homelessness in our country is unacceptable. It is truly unacceptable when it is a veteran, as that veteran fought to protect and serve all of us.
From A.L. Moore Grisham Mortuary in North Phoenix, the Patriot Guard guided the procession to the National Memorial Cemetery of Arizona, where hundreds more came to show one more sign of their respect. As for Carol Shegog Parker, it was an overwhelming day of love and gratitude for a man she'll never forget, and the countrymen and women who didn't forget him either.
But he's definitely claimed, he's loved, and he's named. He's Will Melvin Shegog. He's my uncle, and I love him.
So pretty emotional stuff there. It's estimated there are about 900 homeless veterans living in the state of Arizona. Across the country, that number is around 40,000. Today's burial was made possible through the Dignity Memorial Homeless Veterans Burial Program. Mark and Caribe.
Well, now to a story you'll only see on 12 News. Tonight, we're taking you inside the ER at Maricopa Medical Center, which is one of the busiest in the state.
You're getting an up-close look at what doctors and those in training go through when lives are on the line and just seconds matter.
Team 12's Mike Gonzalez joins us live here in Studio 12A with his firsthand account of his 2 nights with the doctors in the ER. Mike?
Good evening, Mark and Caribe. Well, guys, life inside the ER can go from 0 to 100 in a matter of seconds. And for residents, it can be even more stressful because not only are you trying to save lives, you're learning how to practice emergency medicine all at the same time. The sounds.
Did you get hit in the mouth?
The seriousness. and moving parts. This is Maricopa Medical Center,
Habla español?
one of the busiest emergency rooms in the valley.
How are you feeling?
Doctors here deal with anything you can imagine.
So he stopped eating 24 days ago.
To people coming off of mind-altering drugs.
Well, they got me in a mental crazy house. They think I'm crazy, but I'm really not. It was just methamphetamines, though.
Can you pull out the stuff for bed, too?
For resident doctors like Aaron Johnson, there's no other place they'd rather be.
Yeah, it's a high-stress job.
It's a place where Dr. Johnson and 41 other young residents spend 3 years after med school learning to save lives. How close do you become, because you're working with these 41 other people?
Oh, you get really close.
It wasn't long before we had to cut this interview short and see Dr. Johnson in action. He was called to the ER for a patient who was having trouble breathing, needing life-saving intervention fast.
If he's becoming altered, I don't think it's a good candidate for BiPAP. We should probably just intubate him. Sir, are you with us? Yes. Yeah, DL with a glide for backup, please.
After an intense 10 minutes,
No, now we got color change.
this patient finally stabilizes.
He wasn't responding to questions appropriately, and that's when we had to intubate him for airway protection.
At the same time, adding to the stress inside the ER, a crash victim screams in pain inside the same room. The only thing certain, every night is going to be different.
Without them, we'd be beat up all the time.
Espada, el pecho or no?
The patients here, some of the most in need and underserved.
All right, we're gonna make her a trauma, okay? All right, cool.
Dr. Frank Lavecchio is one of the attending doctors. He's a veteran of the emergency department wars. Training these young physicians is a real balancing act.
So I'm right by his side, so I'm not too far away.
Any surgeries?
For some, Maricopa Medical is their only source of health care. Those without the money or insurance come here for everything.
It's a combination of health education, health literacy, being able to afford your medications, being able to physically get to the doctor's appointments that you're supposed to have. If I refer you to a specialist, but you don't have a car, and it's 10 miles away, what are you going to do?
He has a bunch of abscesses on his anterior thighs.
In the meantime, Dr. Johnson's residency will conclude in just a few months.
I love my job. Would you put a MICU consult in for bed 2?
But for now, his own life plans are on hold
Yes.
as he continues to save others.
Really fascinating.
It really was invigorating and nerve-wracking all at the same time to be as close as I am to you to life-saving measures by folks that are between the age of 28 to as old as 39 was the oldest resident. So
You said
incredible.
you had quite a bit of anxiety.
Oh, I was anxious
this.
in there, and I think the level of competency, guys, was so incredible to me. Competency and calmness.
Right.
And I kept asking them, how do you guys remain so calm? They said it is an essential part because if not, things will fall apart so quickly, Mike. We have to stay calm. That is the most essential part of this job.
Incredible. And man, incredible access too.
And I'm producing a little bit of a mini documentary that I'll put on my Facebook page and 12news.com. There's just so much great footage that people will want to see.
All right, Mike, thanks.
You got it.
Well, here's a live.
Good evening, guys. We're out here at the Paws Sanctuary in Mesa, where police finally executed a search warrant around 1 o'clock this morning. We don't know exactly what the conditions were inside this facility, but what we could see were dogs that were skinny. They just looked unhealthy, and they needed a lot of help, and they needed it quickly. One by one, Debbie Domanahucci watched as malnourished dogs were taken out of this dog rescue in East Mesa Friday morning.
They're bringing out a dog that they're carrying.
Domanahucci is a dog lover and for years has volunteered at rescue shelters across the county. She says the industry needs to be cleaned up because it's easy to cut corners. I keep hearing that this industry is not real regulated.
No, it's not regulated at all. 50, 51, supposedly.
On Wednesday, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office received a tip that close to 50 dogs were living in deplorable conditions inside the Shelter Paul Sanctuary located inside this unassuming commercial property that houses a bail bondsman and a motorcycle shop. We captured them around 1 o'clock Thursday morning in various conditions. Some could barely walk, others had to be carried, many barely hanging on to life. The dogs were treated on site, then taken to a nearby animal hospital for further evaluation. How much neglect do you think these dogs have gone through based on what you've seen?
A lot.
The owner, Dominic Anthony, is said to be cooperating with authorities, his lawyer saying many of these allegations are unfounded, and Anthony has rescued thousands of dogs over the years. As for Debbie Dominicucci, she knows she doesn't have to be here, but her love for these animals can't keep her away.
When you have stuff like this going on, it's a shame because the dogs are suffering and it's too much.
In Mesa, I'm Mike Gonzalez, 12 News. Good evening, guys. Yeah, that claim coming from a man named Na Lin Toon is opening the eyes of gamers across the world, but it had us asking here at 12 News, is this a hoax or something all gamers should be looking to avoid? Gaming. It's something that thousands of kids across Arizona engage in every single day. In fact, close to 70 million kids in the U.S. ages 2 to 17 are playing some form of video games every day. And as you can imagine, that's causing massive strain on our children's eyes.
The predominant issue I see with prolonged video gaming in my practice here in Phoenix is dry eye.
Dr. Jeremy Van Buren is one of the most respected ophthalmologists in the country. We showed Dr. Van Buren this picture and this gamer's claim that excessive video gaming caused the blood vessels in his eyes to burst.
Highly unlikely that video gaming would result in that kind of rupture or hemorrhage of the blood vessels around the eye.
So not likely that gaming caused that severe eye issue, but Dr. Van Buren says there are some serious side effects that it can cause.
Sort of various and could include headaches, nearsightedness, fatigue associated with it.
But it's not all bad. There is some good news when it comes to gaming.
Video games have been shown to help children with amblyopia, lazy eye, if you will, help fix that playing video games.
Dr. V's advice, take lots of breaks and put a time limit on your child's gaming habits. So we can verify that even excessive video gaming will not cause blood vessels in your eyes to burst.
But staring at a screen, highly unlikely to cause that, especially in a young person.
Dr. Van Buren says it's not just gaming that can cause major strain to your eyes. Your kids staring at a computer screen or social media sites on their cell phone for hours on end can also cause some major issues. Again, the best thing that you can do is take lots of breaks from staring at your cell phone or your screen to avoid any long-term problems. In the newsroom, I'm Mike Gonzalez, 12 News. Welcome back to 12 News at 10. I'm Mike Gonzalez. Thanks for sticking around. Well, great story right here. Chef Marcus Bryant just happens to be deaf. He's known as the Deaf Chef for good reason, because this guy can really cook. I caught up with him recently to talk about his inspiring story. For Chef Marcus Bryant, the world can be a quiet place, but what his world lacks in sound, he makes up with taste. I caught up with the man dubbed as the Deaf Chef outside of Lock Heel Brewing in Mesa, where Marcus was cooking up some amazing tacos as part of his catering company, Tacolicious. With his son Jermaine by his side, who's a junior at Red Mountain High School in Mesa, the pair cooked up carne asada tacos, cinnamon apple pie tacos, and avocado shrimp tacos. Marcus says his dad is an inspiration to him and everyone that he meets.
Very proud of his, his enthusiastic, I don't know, he's just very determined on getting to where he wants. He's always talked about having his own business and, selling his own food, it's just, I don't know. I always believed in him, and I'm glad to see that he's come so far.
From as early as he can remember, Jermaine says his dad has always loved to cook, and he's been really good at it. Marcus has worked in California and Arizona as both a line cook all the way up to head chef. Jermaine says growing up with a deaf dad really wasn't all that strange, and sign language is something that he's always known.
I was mostly an interpreter for my dad and my mom, growing up, always, explaining, talking with other people, trying to get them to communicate through, me, obviously, but that was probably one of the biggest challenges. Not really other.
Marcus's latest endeavor, Taco-licious, is a catering company that focuses on Mexican food. Lockhill Brewery owner Ian Cameron, who's hard of hearing himself, was excited to work with Marcus and take a bite of his work. It's something I had to try out for myself.
Wow. Marcus.
Oh yeah, that taco was so good, but what's even better is seeing the close bond that a father and son have for one another.
Like my mentor. I think he's like my idol. I look up to him for a lot of things. I try to look up to him whenever I'm in like a situation. And when I look into my future, what I see, I'm pretty much seeing me just working hard.
Marcus, how much do you love this kid?
I love him so much.
Marcus says he's determined to make his catering business a success, one carne asada taco at a time. As for Jermaine, he says he knows his dad's going to make it and has some advice for anyone reaching for the stars.
Don't let the minor setbacks or the big setbacks stop you from doing what you want. You know, because like my dad's hard of hearing and people will be like, oh, well, like he can't do a lot of things that hearing people can, but like he's running his own business, like he's making his own food. It's crazy. So honestly, yeah, don't make excuses for not making your own goals.
If you'd like to learn more about Marcus Bryant, the Deaf Chef, just go to my Facebook page. All you have to do is search Mike Gonzalez 12 News.